Awesome, guys. So, how's it going, everyone? We're here with Generate Agent Leads, and today I've got a very special guest. We've got Carly Whaley on the call. This is an agent who's been doing really great with the system so far. She came on, a few months back, and she's been seeing some good success. So, Carly, yeah, just if you could quickly introduce yourself, tell me a little bit about yourself and your business, right? Like how long you've been in real estate, stuff like that.
Okay, well, I'm an agent here in Knoxville, Tennessee. I have been in business about 5 years. My first year, though, was in property management. So I sort of kind of don't count that because it's kind of a different beast altogether. But the last 4 years, I've been solidly in sales. And yeah, I mean, I guess that's really the long and short of that.
Yeah, no, that's the root of it for sure. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you said you operate in Knoxville, and
Yeah,
so
and
when
surrounding.
did you get started with the system?
I started, I guess it was January when I actually got access to everything and started really rolling with it.
Yeah, well, like when all the ads got up and running. Awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. We
so
talked about it like the whole month before, but I ended up in January actually
yeah.
doing it.
Yeah, sometimes it can take a little bit of time, right? Making sure everything's right. Sometimes, you'll get started you'll sign on a little bit earlier and you'll have some things come up, but it's awesome. We always get you launched and make sure everything starts on a specific date.
Oh,
So
yeah. You guys did great. You guys did great.
thank you. Thank you. So, what led you to joining with Generate Agent Leads?
Well, I knew that I was going to need to spend some marketing dollars this year. With the whole COVID thing, like I had mostly lived off referrals and that sort of thing. And with COVID the past year, I did really well the previous year. But what had happened was going into the end of 2020 and the first of this year, I realized you haven't met any new people all year. Like you've been home, right?
Yeah, it's hard
So
hard to meet people unless you're prospecting through Facebook, like chat and going through some comments.
Exactly, exactly. And I hadn't been doing any of that. I'd only been working with the people that were largely being referred to me by, friends. And, I have a couple of lenders who send people my way, that sort of thing. And I realized that given the fact that I hadn't met anybody new, there was no new flow to my business. And I was all of a sudden realizing that in the future that was going to be a big problem for me this year. So I decided I was going to spend some advertising dollars or some marketing dollars. I wasn't real sure what that looked like for me just yet, but I had some ideas and I really just started talking to multiple companies that looked like they may have something that could offer that would fit into how I wanted to run my business.
hmm And were you talking to any, other, like, had you signed up with any lead generation services in the past or anything similar to what we do?
Yeah, well, not similar to what you do. I had done like realtor.com several years ago, like when I was a brand new agent, because I just really didn't have any friends or family here at the time. I had friends, but my two best friends were both realtors also. So they had been realtors before I was. So everybody was already using them, you know what I mean? And I didn't have any family here. So I was having to like figure that out for myself. So I had done that in the past. But that was really it. That was really the only place I was spending money in marketing and advertising besides, occasional Facebook boost, and that sort of thing.
And so, you mentioned you came on in around January, like sort of
Yeah.
beginning of January, and so from the beginning of like when the ads started to the first sort of closing, like how long did it take for you to see those results?
I had my first closing in March. So it took me almost 3 months to have the very first one.
Okay, awesome. So, and how much we would say we spent about sort of $900 on the ads, in that time?
Yeah. 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 And of course, there was like, the initial investment of the program itself. But that first one actually kind of paid for that. I had broke even on that first one. So now anything that comes after that, for the most part,
Mhm.
depending upon how much I spend on ads in the future, it is going to be positive flow, above and beyond.
Perfect. And so what other, results have you been finding? Like you got one closing. How many you've got any other appointments that you've gotten set or any other
Well,
clients that
yeah,
you've been
I've
working
got honestly a lot of these are long game people. I'm just going to be perfectly honest. That's the hard part of it. But for me, that's okay because I was concerned about the long game at this
with?
point. I'm not in a place where I was like, oh my God, I have to have all this stuff right now. And if you're in that place, this is kind of like not the best program for that. But when you're looking at building something bigger long term, I think this is great. I mean, it's given me a really big kind of book of business. Like there's a lot of people I'm talking to randomly, I guess is the better way to put it. A couple of people I've actually hooked up with lenders, a couple of people that, I've done various things. It's still, I think it's going to be a little bit before I have another solid, because most of these people are so early in the whole thing. But that's just good for me next year. You know what I mean? Or at the end of this year or further on in.
Yeah, that's the thing with like Facebook ads when we're running these Facebook ads and sort of activating this
Yeah.
conversation. Like you're
And you
catching
guys
people
gave
right
me that
before.
reasonable expectation, and I appreciate that. You were very transparent about that when I began.
So yeah, if you can like specifically name a couple of things, within the system that you've sort of been finding that you've been enjoying, that have been working really well for you, if you can outline some of those things.
Yeah. Well, for me personally, my biggest thing was I knew like Facebook ads were probably a pretty good way to go to get out there. And I could never seem to find the time to sit down and figure out like how to do that.
Mhm.
You guys took care of that for me. And I can actually kind of go on the back end and see how you're doing things, and I can learn from that if I choose to, or I can just let you do it. You know what I mean? So that's been like a huge positive for me, that at least I'm doing something, because I was doing nothing, to be perfectly honest. And I also like the follow-up of the CRM that's already set up. I did have to go through and kind of personalize it for me and change some things for me, but it was already there. And for me, that was a huge time saver, because I struggle a lot with like how to start with things. And my follow-up, to be perfectly frank, kind of sucks, like if you're not actively talking to me and keeping me engaged, I go on to the next new shiny thing. I'm really bad about that. And I knew that was where I had a weakness and a deficit. So this particular program was a really good fit for me and the struggles I was having.
And so let's get into follow up for a little bit right here. Can you describe the follow up process that's been working for you, right? Like, what does it typically look like for you when a lead responds and is activated into a conversation onwards?
Okay. So what on my end, if someone actually responds to it, I have been setting them up on, we have the automatic drip campaign that you guys have set up, which is amazing. And then I've been setting them up, like I'll answer their question, and I'll send them the list that is what they're requesting. But then I also set them up with a portal into our MLS. And I have probably almost a dozen people who are working that thing right now out of everybody I have. At some point, I mean, they're seeing my face every day. If nothing else, when they're going in there, they're seeing my face pop up and listings for that day. So they're being set up on automatic searches, and have the ability to access their very own portal where they can go in and, look on their own and that sort of thing. And some people are actually utilizing that. So that's kind of what I've been doing when they get to that point.
Awesome. Yeah. So it's always good to be able to sort of, have the ability to not have to worry about prospecting in the initial phases and having that conversation activated for you, and then setting them up on the
Yes.
automated searches, having you in front of them always, right? Like
Yeah.
that's
Now, if
the,
somebody gets super serious, I start investing more time in them. But as long as they're just kind of like looky-loos, I kind of set it up. You know what I mean?
right. And it's very important to keep in front of people, like with online leads, right? The biggest thing that you have to remember is, you need to build the factor of know, like, and trust. That's a huge thing when you're working
Yes.
with people that have never seen you before. So the fact that you're keeping people like, always eyes on you, that's going to be really beneficial down the line, because it's going to be a lot easier to really start up a conversation with a lead when they're actually ready. Right. So that's really, really, really good information there. So Carly, like, what would you recommend to any newer agents signing on in the program? Like, in your eyes, right, what does it take to be successful?
Mainly, I think the primary thing is when people actually respond and it goes into your court, answer them. you know, like actually, I have missed, out of all the people that have come through and said, I've missed two of them. I was sick, and it was just so many days after that I kind of felt like a dork going back.
Mhm.
And I probably should have with them, just to kind of keep them in the thing. But I really think most of it is just because I've answered them and I've set them up on something, like I said, where they look at my face all the time, because I'm sending them my emails constantly from the MLS. You're sending them stuff. They're getting a barrage of Carly, I mean, so I would like to think, for a portion of these people, who they're going to think of when it comes time to actually do something.
Yeah, like same reason anybody's gonna buy, any like environmental advertising, like the billboards or bus
Yeah,
stops, right? Like it's to keep in front of you. So, that's always the
exactly.
main thing. It's like just if you can keep in front of the leads, right? Make sure you're messaging them if they've stopped responding, right? Just making sure that, even if you're just saying, hey, like I just wanted to check in and see how things are going, right? Making sure you're always in front of the leads is going to be the main driver of revenue for
Hmm.
online leads. So yeah, you mentioned, right, keeping in front of the leads, very important. So last, like, a couple last questions here. So where did you first hear about us, right? Like what piqued your interest with the Generate Agent Lead specifically?
Quite honestly, it seems like it was Instagram. If I remember correctly, I think that's where I ran across your guys' ad. And like I said, I was already thinking about it. So it was kind of a perfect storm sort of thing.
Mhm.
And that's just kind of how I ended up there. I clicked the link and I was like, oh, this is a little different from some of the other stuff I've been looking at. And I checked it out and I'm glad I did. I think it's a lot better fit than some other things I could have done.
I mean, yeah, amazing, and we're happy we did too. We're so happy that you've been able to achieve some good results, and I can see just from the way that you're moving, right? You're gonna be seeing a lot more coming, because it's always going to be initial couple of months building that rapport, right? Like you're setting
Yeah.
auto searches, that's really really helping you with the know, like, and trust factor. And then 6-7 months down the line, there might be 3 or 4 people that are ready to pull the trigger, right? Maybe it's midsummer, somebody's ready to get a move, right? Depending on the restrictions and how those go, if they start to become more lenient, right, you might see a lot
Hmm.
of people getting
Exactly.
ready to buy. So it could be a perfect storm. So that's awesome. So if you could, just in one, sort of quick scoop, describe what it's been like working with us, right? In what areas have you found the most value, and sort of just go on that, and we can sort of end off there.
Okay, yeah. I've actually really appreciated the customer service. I I get a little impulsive about things, and as I was going through and trying to organize stuff and kind of make it sound like me instead of like you know what I mean? Like I accidentally did some like really stupid stuff when I first signed on, and I had to go and I'd be like, yeah, I screwed things up, and people were like, yeah, no problem. I mean, like everybody went in there and was able to fix things for me, and everybody was super responsive. I really, really appreciated that. I have not once felt like I was left on my own. If I'm not utilizing what I have available to me, it's because I'm not utilizing it, not because it's not available. And I have super appreciated that. There's so much I know is sitting there waiting for me to work on that I haven't even delved into just because I've been busy, which is great. That's the whole point, right? But when I'm not, I'm going to be able to have that to be able to go in and learn more of what I can do to help myself, because you have all those other options of having like the organic leads and that sort of thing. And
Mhm.
so I'm really excited to get into that also. But yeah, I like that you have like extra things like those organic leads, and also just like I said, the customer service is really good. I have really appreciated the attention that I've been able to get when I've needed it.
Yeah, and we really appreciate you, Carly. We're so happy to hear that you're so happy about the customer service, and our team is always here to help you out, right? That's our main goal, is to make sure that you're successful. So if you ever feel like you're lost or have any questions or anything like that, always
Yeah.
feel free to reach out to us. Um, So that's really good. So last question right here, and then we'll wrap it up. And I really
Yeah.
appreciate the time today, Carly. So if there's one thing you could say for us, how can we improve the service that we're providing to clients right now?
My only thing I think that I would say, but also I'm not entirely sure it's not me. So I'm going to preface it with that, is I wish I had a little more control over like the type of ad that goes out. But on the other hand, I understand why you do that, because you do have the guarantee of if you don't, you want to be able to control that. And I think that's really important. But now that I've had a sell, I'm like, I'm past that guarantee part. And I would like a little more the ability to kind of maybe like cater to my market a little more specifically. But I think there's a lot of the videos I haven't watched yet and that sort of thing. So I'm not entirely sure that I can't learn to do that by what you're offering. So me even having that criticism, I feel like maybe isn't fair. Aside from that, though, I think you guys are doing a great job with what you're doing. I don't really have there's nothing I feel like that I can criticize and ask for you guys, to do better than what you've done.
Well, I mean, I think that's the best answer we could have got, Carly. So
Yeah,
I
I
really,
mean,
really appreciate that.
like I said, I'm not even sure that's not even just me.
Yeah, that's really good. We're so happy to hear that you're really liking the program so far. And I mean, that's pretty much it here, Carly. So I mean, it was a pleasure speaking with you today, and sort of getting a better insight on, our client base and how we can go about improving, or what's working so far. So I mean, we're really excited to work with you and see what results we can keep generating you during our time with the program. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So guys, I hope everybody sort of got some value out of this call today. We really appreciate Carly coming on here and sharing her wisdom. She's really killing it, and I think she'll continue to kill it. So if anything, awesome guys, we'll touch base with Carly and see what else she's brewing up, and how we can sort of bring that into what we're offering. So yeah, anything last here that we want to say, Carly, or we all good to go here?
No, I think we're great. And I think the primary thing, one thing I did mean to mention that I didn't, is I really appreciated that when I came on, you guys were super transparent of what to expect. You didn't give me any, like, I feel like I have received exactly what you said. And that's why I have such a glowing recommendation. I don't feel like there was any deceit whatsoever. So how you are presenting your program is really good. Keep doing that.
Thank you so much, Carly. All right, well, I really appreciate your time today, and yeah, we'll end it off there.